Well, hey everybody, Mr. Reeves back with you, and I wanted to make a quick video about algebra tiles. There is an IXL skill I'm going to be asking you to do that involves algebra tiles, and I don't think we have used them this year. So algebra tiles is something we call manipulative, which is traditionally a hands-on way for you to understand math. So traditionally, you would actually be picking these up. You would not be working with them on the computer. All right, so these are virtual manipulatives. Now, over here, what we have are three different things that are positive, and over here, we have the corresponding ones that are negative. So when you're working with algebra tiles and you see red, that indicates negative. I do believe we used some counters earlier in the year where yellow was positive and red was negative. So counters are actually part of algebra tiles. So what you need to understand about algebra tiles, again, other than the fact that these ones are positive and these ones are negative, this larger square represents x squared. So this one right here represents negative x squared, or negative 1x squared if you prefer, but we usually don't put the 1. So I'm just going to put negative x squared, or the opposite of x squared. This longer bar right here represents x, and this represents x with a negative on it, or the opposite of x, or negative 1 times x. And finally, this small yellow square is 1, and this small red square, yes, you guessed it, is negative 1. And so we can use these to illustrate working with expressions, and of course we also can use them with equations, but today we're just going to use them with expressions. All right, so if I brought out something like this, let's just say I have this right here, okay? And I asked you, here, let me throw a couple more in, what that represents. Well, right here, this is an x squared, this is an x squared, this is an x, this is an x, this is an x, and then 1, 1, 1. This would represent 2x squared, 2x squared plus 3x plus 1. Does that make sense? 2x squareds plus 3x plus 1. All right, that is an expression. Later on, you'll learn this is actually called a polynomial, specifically a trinomial. All right, so let me go over here now and throw some of these in here. By the way, with these x's, they've given us both vertical x and horizontal. It doesn't really matter. All right, so let's see what we have here. So this one right here, all right, I'm not going to write each one down this time because I think you've got the idea. I've got 1, 2, 3, so negative 3x squared. 1, 2, 3, 4 plus 4x's, right? 1, 2, 3, 4 plus 4. All right, so these ones represent negatives. These ones represent positives. Now, you don't actually have to have all positive or all negative, all right? Now, you can put them together. Now, what happens if I put this one with that one? Well, what happens when you add a positive x squared to a negative x squared? Well, I love how this happens. Whoops, I love how this happens. It disappears, right? And that one added to that one because they are opposites. And when you add opposites, what do you get? You get 0. So this is an important idea to understand when you are simplifying expressions. When you add opposites, you get 0. You remember this from integers, right? You put those two together, that's 0. We called that a 0 pair. That is 0. That one is a 0. And then what would we have left? We would have these left, right? Alrighty, so I wonder what these are. Tidy. Oh, tidy. It made them go away. That's exactly what I was hoping would happen. All right, so let me create an expression and then ask you how we could simplify it, okay? So I'm going to go 2x squared, and then I'm going to go, I think I'm going to stick with all vertical here. All right, 3x plus, let's see here, can I grab it? 1, 2, 3. All right. And then I'm going to add that to over here. Actually, let me do that. Okay. And then, whoops, didn't mean to put those together. I want to leave a little space. Will that fit in there? Nope. All right, I'm just going to put it down here on the bottom. It really doesn't matter how you arrange them. Okay, so I have an expression here, and I want to simplify it, okay? So we are going to simplify this expression. Well, let's take a look at what we have here. We have right here, what, 2x squared, right, plus 3x plus 3. And I want to add that to, what do we have here? Negative 3x squared plus negative 2x plus 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, negative 5. All right, now I do want to let you know that many times, in fact, most of the time, we don't write it like this, all right? Instead of plus and negative, we would put minus 3x squared minus 2x minus 5, right? Or another way we might put it is we might put minus 3x squared plus 2x plus 5 with that minus outside. So those are all different ways to represent the same thing. I can add each one separately as a negative. I can subtract each one separately as a positive. Or I can group them all together and then subtract them that way. All right? So these are different ways to represent the same expression. I'm going to go ahead and leave it the top way just because that's how it is with the algebra tiles. Now, when I go to put these together, what's going to happen, right? I have 2 positives and 3 negatives. So what do I have more of? I have more negatives. So I'm going to have a red one left here, right? I've got 3 positives and 2 negatives. So what's going to happen here? I'm going to have a green one left. And then I have 3 yellows and 5 reds. What's going to happen? I'm going to have a couple of red ones left right here. So now I'm going to take it away, and I'm just going to go ahead and do what I showed you before. Those 2 cancel, right? Those 2 cancel, and I'm going to bring this one to the middle because that's a leftover one, right? Those 2 cancel. Those 2 cancel. I'm going to bring this one because that's a leftover, right? And then those cancel. Those cancel. Those cancel. And this is what I have left. All right, so this would be the answer right here. I would have negative x squared, or the opposite of x squared, plus x minus 2. So that would be my answer. So if we go back to what I had before, the answer again was negative x squared, right? Because I had one more negative than I did positive, right? Plus 1x, because I had 3 positives and 2 negatives, so I have 1 positive left. And then I have minus 2 because I had 3 positives and 5 negatives. All right, that would be the simplified expression for what we had here. All right, so I hope that helps you understand how algebra tiles work. They're pretty self-explanatory, and I don't think you'll have any problem practicing with them on IXL. Until next time, see ya.